Then we got Oz Cobb, friend of the channel.
Manager, and he had a bigger following. Unless you have a big following, she's not gonna give you a shout out. She'll just suck the blood out of you and go away.
No.
So you think Anisa is the one calling the shots, though?
Oh, 100%.
I do, but it is also Ian that allows it to happen.
He enjoys it. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Feel sorry for Ian.
What is happening with them?
Yes, he enjoys it. We used to feel sorry for him.
I did.
Yeah, we both did. We both did. Michael felt sorry for him up until CC2. After CC1, I cut that shit off because I was like, you know what? She's a fucking liar, and he's a liar, and he enjoys all the punishment that she gives him. Yeah. So let it be.
And everyone was like, what was that? Because he got it. It seemed everybody could tell he got pretty rattled by that fight.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say? And I'm gonna. Did you say he cried?
Oh, we had to have a meeting.
Yeah. So after that, so he was crying at the gym afterwards, and I said, and once again, I hate to hate on him for that because it's very emotional.
Yeah, for sure.
In some hard sparring, right? Yeah. So but then what happened afterwards was horrible because then we went back to the hotel, and then they were eating at Denny's, and they said we need to have a meeting. So I have to go to Denny's. And they pretty much then talked about how they were going to have to fire me because I reminded Ian of his father when his father would yell at him as a kid. And so I had to relearn how to talk to him. And at the time, I didn't even mind because I'm like, as a coach, I need to learn how to talk to different fighters anyways. Like communication is the most important thing, one of the most important things as a coach. So I was trying to turn it into a positive, but it definitely was. He almost got fired at Denny's.
Yeah, exactly.
Train. So we go to Alex Aaron's gym, and the coach of the head guy of the gym, the owner, says that he doesn't believe women should fight. So Anisa gets really upset and decides she wants to. The owner of the gym said that.
The owner
of So Anisa got so offended that she said, Ian needs to spar now today. And we're like, what? And then I'm like,
man, to get slaughtered by Alex Ernst, who's like some kind of like boxing savant or something. He fucking annihilated him, dude.
And then you start to realize, wow, everything that, I mean, I don't want to say, their enemy's name. What's his name? Sam. Like, I don't want to say he's right, but when we saw that video drop,
no,
I was
he's
like,
right.
oh my God.
You could say it.
I was like,
the one where he's like, well, hold on. So there's a video of Sam Hyde, and he goes, she's going to ruin his life. Mark my words. I guarantee it. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes, Anisa was the one that showed it to us because we didn't know nothing.
What was funny too is it's
because we're both very professional, we're both very direct and very transparent. If they told us that they're going to throw a huge gala after the fight and it was going to cost a ton of money, we would have asked them, why are you doing this?
Yeah,
because Anisa already told us, she shared with us prior to CC2, like a month before, that they were negative, was it 500K already?
Yeah, at the time.
Whoa, hold on.
Yeah,
say that again. Say that again.
They were negative 500K before the event.
Yes.
So going up to the event with the ticket sales and the PPV sales, when the event started, they knew they were down $500,000.
Yeah.
And Kate, what did you do for Creator Clash?
I traveled with Ian and Anisa along with Michael, and I did all the recording for all the sparring sessions, all the meetups with all the YouTubers, even small interviews with like Eric, who also fought on CC1. So I have a ton of content, and Ian promised us that he was going to put out this documentary that was going to share the journey of how Michael took this video game nerd and turned him into a boxer. And so that's how they sold it to us when they first came to us. And so I was super psyched that this is going to be a way for me to help build my husband's brand and also put the work out there. But it never came through. And so when he most recently put that video out saying that he told a big lie and he was never going to put out a documentary, and all he has is a ton of 4K videos of him doing stupid shit or something like that, it was actually very hurtful to me.
That's your footage that he's talking about your footage.
Yeah, exactly.
3 years. Yeah, 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, well, yeah. Before the 61 was filmed the year.
It was 10 months.
Wade? Yeah. He was like, they offered me a salary, or they offered me payment, but I declined it because I was like, it's for charity. I'm good. But then they took that money that he generously forfeit, a guy who's not rich, by the way, and gave it to all the fucking creators. It's nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we were also promised a bonus on CC1, and we never got it. But because Michael was so nice, he didn't want to like make Ian feel uncomfortable and ask Ian and Anisa about it. I was pretty upset by it, and I thought it wasn't fair because how is it that we put on this great event, we raised $1.3 million for charity, and he promised us a bonus, and then right after the event, he just kind of pretend like he's too busy to check in with us, and then we...
Yeah, after the event, like, once the event ended, I didn't see him again for about 5 months. So, because he was working with Dax on some show, and so he never trained. So the only 8 times that Ian ever actually trained was, I trained him from July until May, and then I didn't see him again pretty much for several months. And then he started training again to fight Alex. Pretty much we started at like the end of December. And then that's when like they had to kind of get serious with the camp because they realized like Alex was training hard. So really I only had 10 months with him to begin with, and then about 4+ months with him for the second event. And then I've never seen him again since then.
Yeah, you know, so there's all these interesting little details that you guys shared with me. For example, one being that I think it was you, Kate, that mentioned that he and Anisa did in fact pay for Hasan and all of his compatriots to travel to and stay at Creator Clash 2.
Yes.
Yeah, so they were talking about that long before, about how they had to fly in all these people. First of all, they rented the hotel for over 300 creators and flew a lot of them in. When the first year it was much more scaled back. We just had a couple floors of like some place, like a nice suite place, but it wasn't extravagant at all. And then the second year they did that full hotel for 300 creators. They flew a lot of people in. One of the people they flew in was Froggy Tonic, and they flew him in from France.
That's insane.
And Froggy had told us that he was there to salvage the documentary.
Yeah.
And that was super offensive to us because we're like, what do you mean salvage the documentary? And he said his job was to go around and like film Anisa having interactions with everyone. So we didn't know if that meant they were going to make the second documentary about how, or the actual documentary about how like Anisa was responsible for the event, because she did put a lot of work in for the first event and she did put a lot of work in for the second. But at the same time, in the first event, she didn't get credit for it. So she felt like she deserved all the credit. So I think that's why they paid Froggy Tonic to come film her and follow her around for the second event. But yeah, they flew in a lot of people. They rented out the whole hotel for 300 creators. And when we asked them if Ian's dad was going to be there, because he was there for the first event, they said they couldn't afford to fly Ian's dad in. It was too expensive. Yeah. In the first event, she didn't get credit for it. So she felt like she deserved all the credit. So I think that's why they paid Froggy Tonic to come film her and follow her around for the second event. But yeah, they flew in a lot of people. They rented out the whole hotel for 300 creators. And when we asked them if Ian's dad was going to be there, because he was there for the first event, they said they couldn't afford to fly Ian's dad in. It was too expensive. And the fight itself was like a rocky moment. And then he literally took interviews with everyone before the fights, after the fights. He got all the coaches to interview. And then he said he had no way to make the documentary. So I was just like, how can you not make a documentary?
Yeah,
AB made a documentary.
Everybody made a documentary.
AB, Harley, I was in their documentaries, but I wasn't in Ian's documentary.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so sad to work on an event, like to work such a big event like
You
Creator
guys are
Clash.
so invested. Yeah.
We're so invested.
And it would always drive me crazy because I could tell Ian wasn't really proud of his work. So one of the big things is like, it was very hard to get Ian to train because he doesn't like boxing. He doesn't like boxing.
Well, that seems to be somewhat of a
problem,
a sticking point.
Whatever. It's very hard because you're getting beat up constantly, and then you're supposed to show up to the gym the next day and the next day and the next day. AB can attest to it, right? So it's mentally very hard. So I did feel bad for him because I could tell his heart wasn't into it. So then to be into something like that your heart's not into, that's why I didn't see him once the first event ended. We didn't see him again for several months. And I told him, hey, come in once or twice a week, train for fun, make it fun for yourself. Because when you're in a fight camp, it's not really fun. You just have to keep training.
Right.
But then he never came back. And then so I was like, oh, wow, he really doesn't like boxing. Yeah, so it was hard for me as a coach to just get him to train. Also, like half of the sessions, we'd have to train Anisa. So every session, instead of being just training for Ian for a fight, I would have to take half of the session and train Anisa.
So whose idea was that?
Hers.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing about it is Ian goes along with it, right? Because I feel like if Ian would have said, hey, no, I need the time to train, it might have been different. But he's just like, oh, no, she needs to train before I train.
But she didn't even fight. She wasn't even fighting.
No. And so literally in like the training footage, half of the sessions I had with him would be with her. And then she would come in with like all sorts of drama to the gym. One day she was super dramatic and I was like, oh my gosh, what happened? And she related Will Smith slapping to Chris Rock to somehow Ian having to defend her online. So she was like super dramatic the whole day. And I'm like, I can't even train Ian today because she's so dramatic. So that was
Give me a sec.
happening.
Give me a sec.
I got a couple questions actually, if you don't mind.
Harley, what's up, man?
Yeah.
Please, by all means, yeah, chime in anytime.
Okay, yeah, I had a couple questions. Let me get.
What's
let me
happening?
Set this up right here properly. Get this in order. Did you guys get any paperwork, by the way? Did you guys sign contracts? The fighters had contracts. I'm curious if the coaches had.
No, we never had a contract.
No.
Oh, interesting, because that would have been like something that would have detailed.
And I'm still hoping that the first event was all charity, other than Ian taking his fighter purse. But what was crazy about that is then you said you had a $27,000 bonus, And I was always under the assumption that there was no bonus, because even though he told me there was a bonus, he then disappeared for 6 months and I never saw him. So I was like, was there a bonus or was there not a bonus?
And you confronted about that? You asked them, or you didn't want to?
No, I just let it be.
Because I'm the same way, by the way. I never spoke about money with Creator Clash. I have a guy on my team that does that. I wanted to not talk about money, and plus it's awkward when it's a charity thing. You're like, I don't want to. Am I going to ask for money?
Yep. Right.
The second event was supposed to go to charity, but instead it went to the hotel, the pre-party and after party.
Was there a moment
about the after party? Because he said he was using the after party to help promote the event, but I have no idea how an event after the fight will generate money for the fight.
Well, so that's in his most recent video of concern trolling. In the beginning, he says he's explaining how they lost money in the second one, and he goes, the event before the boxing was to promote it. And that sounds reasonable and normal. But I don't think he even mentioned the fact that there was a massive gala after the fight where Anisa got to play as MC and give out awards and shit.
So we actually didn't even know about the gala until about probably maybe less than a week before the event, or a week before the event. The only reason I knew about the gala was because Ian had invited some of his training partners, and they were on the email list. And so they kept telling me there was going to be a gala. And I assumed they were talking about the pre-party, because the first year they did do the pre-party, but it was much smaller. It was on a way smaller scale than the second year. And then also, so we had no idea. So when everyone was asking me about a gala, they're like, what are you going to wear? I was like, I'm going to wear sweatpants. What are you talking about? And then they're like, what? You're going to wear sweatpants to a gala? You're crazy. And I was
the
like,
first year, it was like, the first year was like a little party thing. It was like a Sweet 16 vibe.
Which is all you need.
It's game set up.
Yeah, we had Super Smash Brothers set up. It was in the hotel both years.
That sounds great.
The second event was supposed to go to charity, but instead it went to the hotel, the pre-party and after party.
Was there a moment
about the after party? Because he said he was using the after party to help promote the event, but I have no idea how an event after the fight will generate money for the fight. Well, so they say when we asked them about it, and I said, hey, is there a gala? And they said, oh, you guys don't even worry about it. You don't have to go to that. And I said, what? This is what Anisa said. And I said, what? And I said, well, some of the sparring partners got invited. And she said, I don't know how they got on that list. They weren't supposed to be on the list. And in my mind, I'm like, Ian had invited them. He sent them the email personally.
What a disgusting human being she seems to be. I'm sorry.
Oh, she didn't want any of us there. She only wanted like creators there, or people that would, I guess, make her feel like she could get more clout. So she told us we didn't have to come to the event. She doesn't know why we would want to be at the event. And I said, what's the event for? And she said, and it's an award show. And I said, what are the awards for? And she said, they're awards for the boxing. And I said, why wouldn't his coach want to be there? Why wouldn't his team want to be there? I was like, that makes no sense. So everybody else, all the other coaches I talked to, I said, hey, did you guys know about the gala? They said, yeah. I said, did you bring a suit for it? And all of them had freaking like 3-piece suits with like kerchiefs and everything. I had sweatpants. I'm like, what
dude, that's so messed up. Why? It's like you're the guy connected with.
And I'm like, so if you don't have a good performance, that's going to look bad on me. After the first event, he didn't. So for the first event, he didn't do any of his cardio. So that's why he ended up gassing out so bad. And I truthfully believe if he would have just done his freaking cardio, that he would have won that fight. But they couldn't do the cardio because 10 weeks before the first event, Anisa wanted them to buy a house. So instead of doing 2 training sessions a day at that point, they had to cut out training to go look to buy a house. And he moved into his new house the week before we left to Florida. So he literally wasn't training like he was supposed to for that whole first event because they wanted to go buy a house when they could have just rented a place for 6 months or a year. And then Ian could have focused on the fight, had the fight, and then found anything. I'm telling you. And they would lie to me, and he would tell me he was doing his road work.
They would lie? Why would he lie? That's like lying to your doctor.
It made no sense because he acted like I told him to do things because I wanted him to do them. And I really wanted him to do things because that would help him win the fight. Yeah. So when I tell him, hey, you need to do this, he'd be like, and then not really do it. He didn't realize how important cardio was until the second fight.
What do you mean he didn't realize how important cardio
was at stake? Well, he went and told Anisa that I told him my brand was at stake. So the next day she comes into the gym super mad. And she's like, our brand is at stake. We're $500,000 in the hole right now.
I wish I knew that. I wish I knew that at that time. I think a lot of the fighters would have liked to have known that. I don't think none of them needed to be in the dark about that.
And then he says, we lost money, but I don't regret throwing the after party.
Yeah, he said
I think that was a lot of her words because, like, he would say things that she would say, and so, for example, he said, "Well, we thought inviting Hasan and all those other people was going to translate to more buys, pay-per-view buys."
And they didn't even promote; they didn't even care.
No, it made no sense to me. I'm like, people don't watch fights because Denzel Washington's in the crowd. They're not like Denzel Washington's there. I need to watch the fight.
Leadership. What do you call that? What is negative leadership?
Abuse.
Abuse? Okay.
Yes.
So you think it's so I guess quantify that. Did you feel like abuse? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, the reason why I say it's abusive is because like, for example, the bonus, right? They mentioned it to me, Michael, that they're going to give a bonus after CC1. And then after the event was so great, they just went rogue on us, you know? It's interesting because we invite them to our house for Thanksgiving. We're so nice to them. We open up our lives to them. They've met my kids, like our kids, you know, and everything. But then once the work is done and they don't need us, they kind of just put us at bay and they make it uncomfortable for us to reach out to them. Or if we reach out to them, they don't respond. So treating us like we're not really in their inner circle, which makes no sense because we worked with them for CC1, CC2. Michael and I have traveled with them to LA, Vegas, Florida. Keep in mind that when we were in Florida with them, we were with them for 2 to 3 weeks at a period of time. That's a long time to be with someone. You learn so much about the person. And then you start to realize, wow, everything that, I mean, I don't want to say, you know, their enemy's name. What's his name? Sam. Like, I don't want to say he's right, but when we saw that video drop,
no,
I was
he's
like,
right.
oh my God.
You could say it.
I was like,
the
What
one
was
where
funny
he's like,
about that?
well, hold on. So there's a video of Sam Hyde and he goes, she's going to ruin his life. Mark my words. I guarantee it. Is that the one you're talking about?
yes, Anisa was the one that showed it to us because we didn't know nothing.
What was funny too is like,
I mean, I was just thinking about that on the way to work because I saw that clip too. And I was like, damn, like Sam fucking, he was right.
well, so what's crazy to me is like, so for example, when Ian did your show for Creator Clash 2, he would never say my name. He would always just go Ian's coach or my coach. And then AB was the one that actually had to say, oh, my coach is he's really tough. He has toxic masculine qualities.
Wait, when did he say that?
He said that when he was talking to
when he did the podcast
with the Smosh guy.
Yeah.
So he did that and he
You
said,
know what?
oh my.
He's lost his mind. I'm sorry, but if anybody deserves to have toxic masculine traits, it's your boxing coach, okay? Get in line, bitch. You know what I mean? Go fucking wake up and run. Think about, you remember Mike Tyson's coach, this like grumpy, insane old man? Like, this is who you want to fucking coach you, dude. What are you talking about?
So he releases the documentary, but we're in LA, we're visiting gyms,
for
and
your,
we're supposed to watch.
For your podcast.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was for that. But we wanted to watch Alex Ernst train. So we go to Alex Ernst's gym, and the coach of the head guy of the gym, the owner, says that he doesn't believe women should fight. So Anisa gets really upset and decides she wants to. The owner of the gym said that.
The owner
of So Anisa got so offended that she said, Ian needs to spar now today. And we're like, what? And then and I'm like,
man, to get slaughtered by Alex Ernst, who's like some kind of like boxing savant or something. He fucking annihilated him, dude.
Yeah.
So what happened was, it was funny because Alex has really thick glasses. So he took his glasses off and he can't see anything. So he just starts swinging haymakers.
Oh, he couldn't even see.
Oh no, but Ian like froze.
Oh wait, and also before the filming, so before they did the sparring, Anisa and Ian runs up to me and they're like, Kate, make sure you film this because we want to put on our YouTube channel in the documentary, how does a 3 week of training look like and 3 months of training look like? Because Ian at that time had been training for 3 months with us. And so I filmed it.
And Alex 3 weeks. He had just started.
Yeah. Well, and the thing was, skill-wise, Ian was much better. Ian wasn't just used to somebody throwing haymakers. And so Alex comes out and just starts hitting him with haymakers. And the first 2 rounds, I was talking to him very softly. I was like, Ian, are you okay? Can you throw punches? If you can't throw punches, I'm going to scrap this sparring because you're not throwing any punches. And then he's like, no, I'm fine. And then 2 rounds later, then I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? And then he went on the Smosh show and he was like, yeah, it's bad enough when you get beat up and your coach is yelling at you too.
Shut up, dude.
I swear. Yeah.
Dude, listen to the audio of any corner. She can't fight, but if she could, she's like amazing. And so I was just kind of curious because you were training her. Is she is she this natural gifted boxing savant?
So she did have some athleticism for a girl. But what would happen was when she would come forward really hard, Ian had zero athleticism, right? So training her was easier than training Ian because she had more athleticism. But what happened on her first sparring session, I would always tell her, you can't just come forward. You can't just come forward. And so she had a sparring session and she was just trying to walk forward. And then a girl punched her. And then I was actually watching Ian, so I wasn't even watching. I just heard a big pop. And then I looked over and she was kind of frozen. And then she said she had a concussion. Then the next day she went and told the doctor that she had a headache and sensitivity to light and pretty much all the concussion symptoms.
The whole entire list, like, it went on forever.
And then so we were like, oh no, she has a concussion. And then Ian's like, well, she's kind of a hypochondriac.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay.
Ian actually reassured me because I was worried at that time.
She's not going to like hearing that.
Yeah, I tried to check on her and he reassured me. He was like, hey, don't worry about her. She's actually a hypochondria and she does this often where she self-diagnoses herself and freaks out.
She's not going to like that.
That's like, don't worry about it. She'll be fine. And I was like, okay, then why is she continuously talking about it on all her media outlets?
The thing that drove me crazy
is that why she said she couldn't box because she had a like? Do you remember what it was?
She was an athlete in high school and she had previous concussions, if I remember correctly.
And he had a bigger following. Unless you have a big following, she's not gonna give you a shout out. She'll just suck the blood out of you and go away.
No.
So you think Anisa's the one calling the shots, though?
Oh, 100%.
I do, but it is also Ian that allows it to happen.
He enjoys it. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Feel sorry for Ian.
What is happening with them?
Yes, he enjoys it. We used to feel sorry for him.
I did.
Yeah, we both did. We both did. Michael felt sorry for him up until CC2. After CC1, I cut that shit off because I was like, you know what? She's a fucking liar, and he's a liar, and he enjoys all the punishment that she gives him. Yeah. So let it be.
She said that after she did that first interview. And I'm always like, I always want the best for my clients. So I'm like, no, that's not true.
Yeah.
Things are going to work out. They're going to give me a shout out. He's going to make this documentary, like all these. And she's like, they're never going to give you the credit, you know? And I was always like, oh, well, and in my mind, I'm like, no, like I love Ian. I trust Ian. I feel like Ian's got like my best interest at heart too. But then he didn't. The time that I actually was finally fully fed up was when I had to ask them about the gala and we were already in Florida. And I'm like, this is the last straw. Like, you don't even, she's like, you guys don't have to be there. Like, she was practically telling us she didn't want us
disrespectful.
There. Crazy.
Disrespectful.
For no reason.
Yeah, and the reason why, I also want to say, the reason why, like, Michael and I, we were waiting for them to tell us about the gala, but they never did. So they waited so long, we got to Florida. We're 2 weeks away from the event, and they still haven't said anything to us. And at this time, all of Ian's sparring partners, there was probably like 4 or 5 of them that flew out, or I think 6 of them total, flew out from Washington, paid for their own flights, their own hotel, and they're all coming there to support Ian. And they all have been helping Ian throughout his fight camp, right? And so they're asking us about the gala. We don't know about it. So we were afraid that if all his teammates showed up, they might not be able to get into the gala. How embarrassing would that be if his teammates are not able to get into the gala because she doesn't want them to be a part of it? Also, so that's why we asked her directly, and that's when she told us about the negative 500K. That's when she told us about why would we want to be there. Yeah. It made no sense.
Also, all of his sparring partners paid for themselves to be there.
Correct.
Nobody, like, they would give him tickets to the event, but they didn't help anybody else get there that was a part of his team other than Kate and I. So otherwise, like, none of the, like, if you're throwing the event and you have all these sparring partners and training partners, I would think you would invite them before like 300 creators that don't mean anything to you.
100%. Yeah, you got to think about